Hello, I'm Chris Scott. Welcome to my studio where I'm going to be hosting a series of craft videos, instructional videos, in cooperation with the Library Arts Center of Newport, New Hampshire. The crafting videos accompany kits that are available at the Newport Library Arts Center. If you already have your kit, that's great. We're ready to start. If you haven't got your kit, you can get one by contacting the Newport Library Arts Center in Newport, New Hampshire. Hello and welcome. I'm Chris Scott. We're going to make a tissue paper poppy. The materials and the instructions come as part of a kit that you can get from the Library Arts Center in Newport, New Hampshire. You're going to get a piece of green printer weight paper. I have a piece that is white on one side and green on the other. Yours will be all green. You get a set of instructions. You're going to get glue and floral tape in the kit, as well as for this particular project, a long wire stem and a short wire stem for the leaves. Also, you're going to get tissue paper, red and black or pink and brown, and a piece of yellow. You're going to need to provide a pair of scissors and a pencil. All right, we're ready to get started. So just to start making this project, I'm going to take this piece of yellow paper, I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to fold it in half again, just so I have enough at the end to make the entire project. I'm going to cut this into quarters. And I'm going to set it aside. Now I'm going to take one of the pieces of red tissue paper. I'm going to fold it in half. Open it back up. And I'm going to place it right on top of the template that is provided on this set of instructions. And I'm going to trace the larger petal, which I can see very well through this piece of paper, because it is translucent. So now I have a tracing of that flower petal. I'm going to take the second piece of red paper. I'm going to fold those together so that when I cut, I'll get 4 leaves. And I'm going to do that off camera. So you can see that I have 4 leaves. I'm going to set these leaves to the side. I'm going to just put them right up there so you can still see them. Now I'm going to cut smaller petals out of this black tissue paper. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this tissue paper into quarters because I need 4 of them. But I can't see through this paper as easily as I could see through the red paper. So I'm going to take a scrap piece of this yellow, one of these corners, and I'm going to use it to make my copy my template, to trace it. So I'm just going to lay it right over top. I'm going to trace my leaf shape. I'm going to stack it on top of the black paper, and I'm going to cut that out. So you can see that I've cut out 4 black petals. I have this little yellow scrap piece, and I'm just going to set that to the side. Now I'm going to glue, and this is listed in the directions, I'm going to glue each of these black petals to the center of these red petals. I'll do one and then I'll do the rest of them and come back to you. So here we go. Whoops, I need to open my glue stick. Then I'm going to take my petal and set it right in the center. So there, I'm going to do that for all 4 of these. So now you can see that I have all 4 of these petals. And here in the instructions, it talks about making a wave in the end of the petal. And it shows some pretty clear examples, but I'm going to stack these and I'm going to make a wave shape in the end of each of these petals. I'm trying to make sure I have it where you can really see it. I'll do both sides. So they're just stacked together, and these are kind of wavy shapes. There we go. So that's what they wind up looking like. And I'm going to take them and I'm going to kind of pleat and crunch a little bit the ends. Pleat and crunch. I'm going to do that for all 4 of these. So now you can see that all of these have been pleated and crunched, less in the center, more on all of the ends. There are pictures of that here in the instructions as well. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the center of the flower, and we're going to use the longer of the 2 wire stems that we have. I'm going to fold the top of this over just a little bit so that it looks like a hook. Let me put it over the white paper. There we go. And I'm just going to take this piece of scrap that I have, and I'm actually going to take another piece of scrap and I'm going to just put them together, and I'm going to use them. I'm just going to wrap, scrunch them onto the end of my stem, of my wire stem. Then I'm going to take another piece of the yellow and I'm going to put some glue on the edges. So I have some glue on the edges, and I'm going to take that, and to just make this a little neater, I'm going to take that yellow piece and I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to push it and wrap it so that what I have is a little more ball shape at the end of my flower. And now I'm going to take this piece of yellow that's left, and I'm going to fold it over and make some V-shaped cuts. Cut it right onto there, move those. I make some V-shaped cuts. They can be pretty random. Maybe about 3/4, half of the way, 3/4 of the way down. There we go. Move that out of the way. When I unfold it, I'm not gonna unfold the bottom part. I'm just gonna unfold it like this. I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue. Whoops, got a glue strand. And then I'm gonna roll it. I'm gonna put my stem on top of it. And then I'm gonna roll it and the stem together. I'm actually gonna move it up a little bit. I want the part that I've cut to be close to that yellow ball. Just going to keep wrapping it around. There we go. When I get it, I am going to roll the bottom in between my fingers and just kind of press and scrunch those yellow bits at the top. So I want to put my leaves on, and I want them to go pretty far up onto this stem, further than the bottom of this yellow tissue paper. So I think I'm going to make a little, instead of just pushing them on, I'm going to make a slightly larger hole using my scissors. So you can see that I made a slightly larger hole in those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to put them fairly close together, pointed in the same direction. I'm going to push them right up the stem and up as far as I can get them on the stem. I'm going to do the same thing with the next 2 and push the end of my scissors through, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them on so that they're fairly close together, but so that they sort of make a cross with the the first two that I put on so that it looks like this. Then I can kind of mush this in whatever way I want to make that look more like a poppy. To keep these petals on the stem, I'm going to use a little bit of floral tape. I cut off maybe about 8 inches worth. Floral tape is paper tape. It has a sticky, waxy coating that helps it stick to itself, sometimes not so much to other things like tissue paper. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the end, and we're going to form a sepal on the bottom of this flower. The sepal is the part of the flower that houses the bud before the flower opens. And when the flower opens, it sits right at the bottom of the flower. So it is going to help us, in this case, to keep all of the flowers, all of the petals on the stem. And it's also going to cover this little bit of yellow that is still showing. So I'm just going to wrap down the stem, try to make sure I'm showing you. I keep wrapping down the stem. There we go. So I've wrapped that. I can glue this part on, but right now I'm going to show you that the next thing I want to do is I want to carefully open these leaves back out. So my poppy leaves are where I want them. So kind of fold it over, so I'm unfolding them. There we go. So now I have my poppy flower bent out the way that I want it. I can fluff and play with these petals till I get them looking exactly the way that I want them to. I can do a little bit of crunching. There we go. And now we're going to talk about making a leaf. So we're going to talk about making a leaf for this poppy. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to make a sandwich of 2 pieces of green paper that I cut out using this template. This template came from the instructions. I just cut it out. So I'm going to lay it right over top of 2 pieces of green paper. And I'm going to cut those out. Doesn't have to be perfect. Cut those out. Set that to the side. You can see that I have 2. Yours will be a green on both sides. Mine are green and white because I think that'll make it easier to see. So it talks about making veins in this leaf. And the way that you would do that is to find the peak of the leaf, the point of the leaf, the end of the leaf, however you want to say it, and fold from there all the way down. And that would be the center spine of the leaf. Then you can fold about here. You can see how that works. And then I'm going to unfold that. I'm going to fold a little bit further down. And I'm folding at an angle on the leaf from that center point. I'm folding both of them at the same time. And you can see where it looks like the veins of the leaf. So now I'm going to unfold, or I'm going to separate those 2 pieces. I'm going to put glue. I'm going to make a sandwich. Here is one side of the sandwich. I'm going to put our wire stem right in there. And then we're going to put the other side of the sandwich right on top. And push those 2 pieces together, sandwiching the piece of wire right into the center. I put that glue away. Now, poppy leaves have serrations, we're going to cut some small V shapes. We're going to round them off. So a rounded V shape right into the edge of the leaf. Some of them can be longer, some of them can be shorter. We do that all the way down the leaf. I'm going to make one really deep right there. Bring that back up. Cut a little bit like that. There. I'm going to do that on both sides and I'll be right back. So now you can see that I cut these little V shapes with a rounded edge into my leaf all the way up and down the leaf. And the great thing about sandwiching that piece of wire in there is that I can then bend the leaf and make it look more naturalistic. I can also take my scissors, put them together like this, and I can kind of round off my leaf if I want to. And then we're going to attach it to the stem of the poppy. So I'm going to kind of look and see where I think I want it. That seems right. Now I'm going to pull a long piece of floral tape off. And I'm going to start wrapping about where I stopped. Let's get it started first. There, I'm going to start wrapping where I stopped wrapping for making the sepal. I'll wrap down a little bit. There. I'll kind of pull it. And then I'm going to place the wire stem of my leaf up against the stem of my flower, and I'm going to continue to wrap the tape down, putting both of them into the wire or into the floral wrap. And then I'm just going to keep going down the stem, and I will finish this off, probably put a little dab of glue on it to get it to stay. But here she is. I can manipulate the leaf and make it point the direction that I want it to point in. And I can fluff up my poppy leaves. There you have it. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.